Hi, my name's Kevin with Hotshot Repair, and today I'm taking a look at an iPhone 6 Plus that came to me with a cracked screen. We can see that the touchscreen still works, the home button still works, the power button still works. All we have to do is replace this screen to make this phone look like new again. We're going to start by removing the two pentalobe screws from the bottom of the phone. We're going to want to keep these screws organized, so just set them aside on your mat. After we have the screws out of the bottom of the phone, we're going to pry up on the bottom of the screen to remove it from the frame. Then we're going to remove the two Phillips screws from the battery connector cover and set these aside, set the cover aside, and unplug the battery. Now there's 5 Phillips screws in the LCD connector cover. We're going to want to remove these and set them aside, keep them organized, keep them so when you reinstall them they go in the same spot they came out of. We're just going to set them aside and then set the cover aside with those. After that's out of the way, we're going to remove the LCD connector, the digitizer connector, the home button connector, and the front camera connector, and set the frame aside. When I'm working on the screen, I like to start from the top. I remove the 3 screws holding the ear speaker bracket in place and set these aside. Then I set the bracket aside with that, fold over the front camera, remove the ear speaker, and then use a pair of tweezers to pry up on the proximity sensor. Now that the proximity sensor and front camera is out of the way, I'm going to remove the 1 screw from the top of the LCD backplate and set it aside. And then I'm going to remove the bottom screw from the LCD backplate, the 2 screws from the home button bracket, and set the bracket aside with those screws. I pry up on the home button connector and then use a pair of tweezers to just lift up on the connector and get it disconnected. And then a pry tool to remove the home button from the screen. Now there's 6 screws holding the LCD backplate in place. We just remove those. They're all the same size, so we just set them aside in a pile. After those screws are removed, I pry up on the home button bridge and then lift up on the LCD backplate and set the screen aside. We get our new screen out, and then it's all kind of in reverse. We reinstall the LCD backplate with the 6 screws. Flip the screen around, do the other side. This is kind of the most tedious part. The rest of this should go pretty quick. After those screws are in place, we're going to start by reinstalling the home button. We're going to reconnect it and then reinstall the bracket and its 2 Phillips screws. And the bottom screw for the LCD backplate and the top screw for the LCD backplate get reinstalled. Then I move up to the proximity sensor and front camera. We just put the proximity sensor into its plastic holder and get everything kind of lined up and get it seated in there properly. After we get everything seated properly, we're going to reinstall the ear speaker, fold over the front camera, and replace the bracket that holds it all to the screen. Then we're going to reinstall the 3 screws that came out of it. After that's done, we're going to get the frame, reconnect the LCD, the digitizer, the home button, and the front camera connectors. Plug back in the battery, turn it on, make sure that the LCD works. Then reinstall the LCD connector bracket cover. Now make sure to put the screws in how they came out. You don't want long screw damage on your logic board. It'll cost you a lot of money, make you replace the phone possibly. So just be careful keeping your screws organized. After that's done, we're going to replace the battery cover, the battery connector cover, and replace the 2 screws that came out of it. Then to reinstall the screen, we just start at the top, press it into its frame, and then kind of go down the sides to secure everything in place. Then reinstall the 2 pentalobe screws that came out of the bottom of it. After that's done, we're going to peel the film off the screen and let the customer know it's done. If you have an iPhone, iPad, or computer that's broken, give me a call at 573-567-0527 or visit my website at www.hotshot.repair.